Hi, my name is Alice. I was an observer in 2021 Gavin Newsom's recall election. Today, I will be your tour guide to show you step by step how your ballot is actually processed. The goal is to help you understand the step it takes to process a vote-by-mail ballot and the process when you vote in person, so you can make an informed decision on how you want to cast your vote in the future. Why is accurately counting your vote so important? Because our vote collectively determines the future direction of this country, and the direction impacts every aspect of our life as we're all experiencing right now. So let's go. The first thing I want to go over is the nomenclature used on this flowchart. Any box that is marked yellow means that it is a very manual labor-intensive task. We observe each of these tasks require at least 20 to 50 people for multiple hours every day to complete this portion of the ballot processing. Now look at the green parallelogram. This signifies when you have control of your ballot. So what does the red asterisk mean? It means a very expensive and specialized machine is needed to perform this task. How expensive? It ranges from hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. So we all hear that vote by mail has been thought to be the most convenient and cost-effective way to vote. So is it really? It might be convenient for you to just drop your ballot off at any time. But do you know how much effort it actually takes to just count your vote? Most importantly, once your ballot is out of your control, how do you know it is counted the way you voted? In this educational series, we will help answer these questions for you. So the first step in vote by mail is you fill out the ballot and drop it off in a post office drop box, or an official ballot drop box. Now, if you want to be extra careful, you might drop it off in a vote center. But regardless, once your ballot left your hand, it's up to the process to make sure your vote is counted the way you voted. Then the next step is your ballot is picked up by two-person team every night and delivered to Registrar of Voters. I will call it ROV from now on. Once the ballot arrives at ROV, the ROV staff make sure that they have ballots from every drop boxes and vote centers. They will also count the number of envelopes they receive from each location. After that, the envelope gets run through a high-speed machine to capture the signature on envelopes. From there, a human verifier will verify whether the signature is sufficiently acceptable based on the signatures on file. If the signature is accepted, the envelope gets put back into the high-speed machine for the second time to be sorted by precinct. After it is sorted, it gets fed into another machine to cut the envelope open, and then a staff member will separate the ballot from its envelope. From there, stack of ballot go to another group of people where they will manually flatten each ballot and look for any damaged ballots. Damaged ballots get separated and put aside. Once the flattened good and damaged ballot are separated, the good ballots get fed into Dominion tabulator. The damaged ballots get sent to a group of people that would create a duplicate ballot based on their understanding of your intent. Let's go over the tabulation path first. So the good ballot gets fed into the tabulator, but then some ballot might be rejected by the tabulator as not acceptable. Those unacceptable ballots were again sent to the duplication team to duplicate the ballot. Once the tabulator accepts the ballot based on a preset voting criteria configured by ROV, some ballot might deem to require human adjudication. What does adjudication mean? Adjudication means the ballot contains questionable and/or ambiguous casts that didn't meet the preset criteria. Since the adjudication criteria is set by each individual ROV for each election, we were surprised to observe that in the recall election, Santa Clara County decided to send any ballots with no vote on any ballot item to be adjudicated. This resulted in over 50% of ballots end up being manually adjudicated. Just as a reference, normally we expect about 1 to 2% adjudication rate. So if a ballot needs adjudication, two people will go over them and decide who and what you voted and adjust your vote as deemed appropriate. Essentially, they make the final decision on who and what your vote is going to be. Now, if ballot doesn't go through adjudication, your vote gets aggregated onto the EMS server. Only then your vote is officially counted. So let's go back to the duplication process. So in this process, two people actually use the Dominion touchscreen to vote on your behalf based on their understanding of your damaged ballot and create a printout of your vote. By the way, military and fax-in ballot go through the same process. After your ballot is duplicated, the copy gets sent back and feed into the tabulator again. From there, it goes through the tabulation process I described before. Now I want to go back to show you what happened if the signature was not accepted initially. This is what we observed. So it may turn out that there is no signature on the envelope. In that case, the county will send a letter to the voter requesting for signature. They will try this twice. If there is a signature on it, they will have a different set of people to take a closer look at the signature and try to verify it again. If the second verifier decided it's good enough, the ballot gets put back and sorted into precinct. If the second verifier decided it's still not good enough, the ballot goes to the third verifier. And this person happened to be the vote by mail supervisor. He or she has the final saying on whether the signature is good enough or they need to send a letter to the voter. So basically, these are the steps necessary in order for vote by mail ballot to be processed. What do you think? Did you expect your mail-in vote actually had to go through so many human hands, so many manual labors, and expensive machine just to be counted? I didn't. It was quite educational for me. Now let's compare the vote by mail process with the vote in person process. First of all, the nomenclature used in this slide is the same as vote by mail slide. It starts by you going into a vote center to cast your vote. Before I go through the whole process, I want to point out these two scenarios that I want you to be aware of. First scenario, you walk in your vote and drop it off at a vote center. This is how I voted in the past. I thought it is safer. Yes, it is safer from a perspective that your vote will not get lost by U.S. Postal Service, but in reality, you will still have to go through the whole vote by mail process I described earlier. Second scenario which we observed is that you go into a vote center or register of voters to vote in person. Instead of them giving you a paper ballot and have you scan your ballot, they gave you an envelope that looked exactly like your vote by mail ballot and asked you to fill it out, put it in the envelope, and drop it off at the vote center's drop box. This is a red flag. Essentially, what they have done is that they violated your intent to vote in person and they turn your ballot back to a mail-in ballot that will need to go through the whole vote by mail process I described earlier again. So please do not accept this method. Insist that you get a flat paper ballot and tell them you want to scan the ballot yourself. For those places that do not have a scanner, you should have a way to put your ballot directly into a box without putting it back into a vote by mail envelope. Now back to how you would vote in person. First, you have to decide which method you want to vote. You can vote using a touch screen, or you can vote by marking a physical paper ballot. The preferred method is marking a physical paper ballot. Why? Because it creates a solid auditable paper trail with your hand marks that cannot be tampered with. For those that think it's more environmentally sound to use a touchscreen, unfortunately that is not the case. As you can see, you're still required to print out a QR code and scan the paper with QR code into the Dominion scanner. It's worth noting that while the county will hand you a Sharpie to vote, we have witnessed that Sharpie do cause a bleed-through. So just to be safe, bring your own ballpoint pen to mark your ballot instead. The important step to point out here is before you confirm your vote on the scanner, please make sure you review your vote, even take a picture of it before you hit confirm. If you don't see your vote on scanner's screen, insist the county staff to turn on that feature on the scanner. So where did your vote go after that? It gets stored onto the scanner's SD card. At the end of the election, each vote center posts their vote in person result, then all the SD cards are collected and uploaded into EMS server, and that's when your vote gets aggregated into the total tally. As you can see, in this case, your vote goes onto an SD card and gets uploaded directly. It bypasses all the adjudication, duplication, and all the human handling of your vote. So within the choices we were given to vote at this time, which way of voting do you think is safer and more cost-effective? The decision is yours. Thank you for listening.